is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. The 15th. Got some economic numbers today. Got some Apple today. And overall, things are looking fairly bullish again. Let's come over here to the charts. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I have a hard time finding it. You know what needs to happen is we need to rename this. Rename. Daily. Yes. Okay, whatever. Well, so here on the daily ES, you can see their technicals are looking pretty good in terms of, like, we bounced off this 50-day moving average. Not that it matters, but a lot of people are going to think it matters. Hence it matters. And here you can see the ES yesterday.
Through the Reuters article, which is 23 hours old.
Pretty good move up yesterday. Again, it was kind of an unusual up move.
They wanted to delay, according to us,
maybe a little excessive
decision on Brexit.
Came up to the standard deviation, bounced off of it, and kind of ended the day down. And towards the end of the day, we got news that AstraZeneca trial is still on hold. After being told that it was going to resume, I guess the government came in and it's still on hold. So that kind of resulted in some of this nonsense right here. And then in the European session, we slowly floated higher. Now, this has been driven, if I come back out here. And
UAE Minister of State Gargash says...
Very much being driven by dollar weakness. Once again, now below the 93 handle, well below the 93 handle.
Don't forget, this is one of the...
And the euro has touched,
have been discussing
although it is still experiencing significant resistance.
As well.
Oh, actually, I take that back. We're still looking, 1.2 is kind of like the big level, but like they're coming up at 1.192, bouncing off of that a little bit. So euro's looking strong at the moment, and that is leading to some of the dollar weakness that we're seeing. All right. Now over in the treasuries, we did have an attempt to move lower that kind of fizzled out, and it kind of went both ways, but then eventually today down. All right. You can maybe see a little bit better here in the ZB. That's where they're really fighting. Okay, oil. Oil's seeing a little bit of a bounce this morning, but still kind of within that range for the moment. Gold moving a little bit higher overnight. They're ready to make a move here up to the 2000 level again. We'll see. It would be a key thing to watch for today. And copper just up. We're just a little bit. I did hear that there was some positive things in the Asian session pushing copper up, but on the chart doesn't look very significant. So that's where that puts us. We got Empire State Manufacturing Index here in about 5 minutes. And let's see here. Red Book today, apparently. Red Book. Export prices. Industrial production. 715. Some bill auctions. 20-year bill auction today. And then again tomorrow.
8 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the U.S. New York
Federal Reserve meeting.
Forecast.
And today, Apple meeting. Or Apple news conference, right?
Forecast 0.5%, previous 0.
I don't think they're expected to move.
Canadian manufacturing sales month over month.
Supposed to happen. I don't know what the deal is with that. Sound wasn't coming out of the right spot today. They come in here and change the audio here. Aha. This one is supposed to be the cable input. There we go. Oh, and you know what else is that? Preferences. I think this is supposed to be the focus, right? And that's supposed to be the cable output. Then this over here. So one of these two. No, I think it's supposed to be that one. Above, the fast one crosses above the slow one, then I'm going long, and then if I'm crossing.
See that bright brain full of activity?
Okay, so that fixes that one. This one is crossing. Okay. That is correct. I think I have it correct now. I think I have it correct. I don't know if you hear the clicky clicks because one hasn't happened. But okay, so now let's turn on the text to speech. Sorry about all that technical difficulties. When I connected this monitor over here as a speaker, I really hate these monitors with speakers, to be honest. Stop putting speakers in your monitors. It's annoying. Okay. So now we wait for this number. Empire State Manufacturing Index estimated to come in at 6. I actually think it'll be higher than 6, but let's see what happens. Oh, yes, it's a good number. Hmm. Hmm. YouTube is not showing me my live chat window. You have to do it over here. Aha. It's not playing out your messages correctly. Man, it was so hard to get these all correct, too.
Speculator Sept Day Trading says test.
There we go. Okay, now you're getting a little bit of a push. I was kind of surprised that they number was that good and they're all just kind of yawning about it. We may need to dive into the numbers a little bit here, so let's do that. Can I get the detail here? Latest release. September 2020. Business activity expanded at a solid clip in New York State, according to firms responding to the September 2020 Manufacturing State Survey. The headline General Business Conditions Index climbed to 13 points to 17. New orders increased modestly and shipments grew significantly. Unfilled orders continued to decline, inventories edged slightly lower, and delivery times were somewhat longer. Employment were again little changed this month, although the average worker picked up. Input prices increased at a faster pace than in August, and selling prices continued to increase modestly. Looking ahead, firms remain optimistic that conditions would improve over the next 6 months. Selling prices increased for a second consecutive month. Firms remain optimistic about future conditions. New orders, shipments, unfilled orders, delivery times. Everything in this looks good. I will link you guys the report. Okay, we should get in. When is Apple's news conference today? I think that's after I'm gone, right? Oh, it will be at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So it won't be until much later in the day. It looks like the equity indexes are finally moving up a bit. I think part of the problem here is people are very much long, so I should have factored that a bit more into the trade here, but I think we're okay. That's why I'm not going to be looking for this to be a huge runner. Interesting. Alligator is so smart, guys. Somebody was asking about how much margin you should trade to trade micro futures and everything.
Salim L. Weathering says you.
Hey, Salim. And he posted huge this huge explanation, and it was so good.
Salim L. Weathering says where is it?
It's in Discord in the Equity Indexes channel. Anyways, he was one of the first guys. He was there from day one when we started the Discord. Before we started the stream, and he knows his stuff, guys. And we don't talk about him much because he doesn't come into the stream and everything. But man, we owe a lot to Alligator. He's a good guy.
Salim L. Weathering says is there a NASDAQ full contract?
What do you mean by a NASDAQ full contract? Ta-da! I think that there could be quite a bit more in that, but because we're so high, I have to be a little cautious about what I think I can get.
Salim L. Weathering says like you have the micro and mini, but I have never seen a full contract.
I think there is. I have to see what it's called. Thing is those contracts don't get traded very often. Let's go to the CME group and see. That's a good question, Salim. Equity index. So here's E-mini contracts, and that's. I don't think that's what we want, actually. View another product. There you go. U.S. index. S&P 500.
Salim L. Weathering says it's ND, but I have never seen it live.
NASDAQ 100 total return index. Apparently it is a thing. Apparently it is a thing. Thing is there's just not even like a quarter as much of volume. I mean, like all of these is zero. It doesn't get traded. I think that might be the same thing with the. Oh, if I come in here, S&P 500. Okay, so today in the full contract, there has been 25. Why do they even have it if it gets traded that little? Oh, whatever. Yeah, eat a little bit here.
Salim L. Weathering says what 25 contracts.
Like, that's the total number of contracts that have traded on that instrument today. Total volume. Well, they look like they could get some more. They're certainly struggling there, though, aren't they? It looks like everybody's already long. It's going to be hard to get many more long contracts here without some sort of a significant pullback, I think. Unless some new participants come in before the market opens, which would be kind of I don't know. Like, to have a huge flood of them come in would be a little unusual. And they seem to be not that interested in, I don't know. I felt like a lot of this movement that took us long was like more stops than anything. It was kind of chunky. It's kind of a chunky move up, The National Hurricane Center tweets, Hurricane Sally is likely to produce extreme life-threatening flash flooding through Wednesday along and just inland of the central Gulf Coast from western Florida, Panhandle to southeastern Mississippi. NWSWPC, whatever that is, expects 10 to 20 inches of rain, isolated 30-inch historic flooding possible. Woohoo. Because 2020 wasn't crazy enough. But that's because we got El Nino. El Nino. Let's read about El Nino. What do you think? What is El Nino? El Nino is a climate cycle in the Pacific Ocean with a global impact on weather patterns. The cycle begins when warm water in the western tropical Pacific Ocean shifts eastward along the equator towards the east coast of South America. Normally, this warm water pools near Indonesia and the Philippines. During an El Nino,
Sunday
the
driver
Pacific's
says, "Am I
warmest
lost?
waters.
I was looking for Pornhub."
Oh, I'm sorry, Sunday driver. Yeah, that's over there. Isn't it a little early for that sort of a thing? There they go, a little bit more. Like there was 2 more points in that.
Jer Torres says, fun fact, El Niño means the boy in Spanish.
Yes. Wait, Squawk is talking. Oh, is Donald Trump talking? Is Donald Trump talking? El Niño means the boy in Spanish.
Salim L. Weathering says, do you recommend Rhythmic or CQG as broker micro NQ or something else?
I don't think it really matters. I think that it depends on what you want to use. If you want to be able to see indexes, then you're going to want to use CQG. If you want to be able to see more level 2, then you want to use Rhythmic. There they go. Okay. I'm still okay with taking my profit there at 0250, but hey, look, there was another $20 in it. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That that's kind of looking like a pop off top though. Anyways, where were we? Normally, this warm water pools near Indonesia and the Philippines. During an El Nino, the Pacific's warmest waters sit offshore of the northeastern South America. Forecasters declare an official El Nino when they see both ocean temperatures and rainfall from storms veer to the east. Experts also look for prevailing trade winds to weaken and even reverse direction during the El Nino climate phenomenon. These changes set up a feedback loop between the atmosphere and the oceans that boosts El Nino conditions. Was it not an El Nino? Maybe it's a La Nina. What is La Nina? Maybe it's not. I was told that it was. Am I wrong? Was I feeding you guys wrong information? Current situation and outlook. The El Nino Southern Oscillation status in the tropical Pacific remains neutral, signifying that neither El Nino or La Nina is currently occurring. However, since May, both surface and subtemperature waters in the region have leaned to below average. The latest forecasts from the WMO Global Producing Centers of Long-Range Forecasts indicate that the tropical Pacific Sea surface temperatures are likely to cool further, potentially reaching La Nina levels during September of 2020. Oh, okay, so it's La Nina. Is it La Nina? What is La Nina? La Nina, like El Nino, is a weather pattern that can occur in the Pacific Ocean every few years. In a normal year, winds along the equator push warm water westward. Warm water at the surface of the ocean blows from South America to Indonesia. As warm water moves west, cold water from the deep rises up to the surface as cold water ends up on the coast of South America. In the winter of La Nina year, these winds are much stronger than usual. This makes the water in the Pacific Ocean near the equator a few degrees colder than it usually is. Even this small change in the ocean's temperature can affect weather all over the world. Rain clouds normally form over warm water. La Nina blows all this warm water to the western Pacific. This means that places like Indonesia and Australia can get much more rain than usual. However, the cold water in the eastern Pacific causes less rain clouds to form there, so places like the southwestern United States can be much drier than usual. Oh. So we are to be very, very dry, and the northern United States is going to be very, very wet. Very wet. La Nina status. September. I guess maybe they haven't done a September one. Yep, I haven't done a September one. So they were saying that maybe it will be a La Nina year, but they didn't do it. Haven't done it yet.
Sunday Driver says, is that your FM radio voice?
That's my FM radio voice. I have a few of them. I was really going more for like, a weather documentary film, like a really edgy weather documentary film where they're like chasing tornadoes and stuff. Was it did you kind of get that feeling, like it was dire and that like dangerous stuff could happen? I don't know. Okay, so they coming back to 3400. So they did push quite a bit further than I thought, but I think I called that one really well, didn't I? And how did I know that? Because of my indicator. It's not predictive. It's really not predictive per se, but I'm starting to find that like if you want to trade based off of like a narrative, like there's too many longs or not enough long, that sort of a thing, you really need something like my model. The whole thing is just really cool. I think the whole thing is just really cool. Anyways, not to brag, because I don't know. Maybe I'll give it to you guys. I was thinking like maybe we could do it like as a reward for subscribing to the channel. That would be cool. Let's see here.
Ace Trades says, are we approaching an all-time high on S?
Oh no, I think we're quite a ways off from that, right? We are just kind of barely above the 50-day moving average, in fact. And 3400 is kind of where like the crazy still here. I'll show you. Right, 3400 is that line right there. So that was when the crazy started. Possible area of resistance. And what did they do? They pushed it through that area of resistance, caused a stop run, and then it fizzled out and moved back down. Right? Whoop. How do you think our video did yesterday? I think it got more than 200 views. Which is
Sunday Driver says Amazon delivery sucks. I've learned to avoid Prime. Search non-Prime sellers and they always use more reliable delivery companies.
Really? Well, it kind of depends on where you live, what you order, etc. So like yesterday, not yesterday, like late in the evening on Sunday, I guess it was. Because yesterday was Monday, right? So it was late in the evening on Sunday. I ordered a new DisplayPort and power cable. And since the power cable was something that they have is Amazon Basics, and they always have in the warehouse, that came early that next morning. I was like, how did that get that? It's only been like 12 hours. And then the DisplayPort cable came a little bit later in the day. But there is a distribution center here in Salt Lake. So yeah. But if you live further away from it, that's or you're ordering for something that's kind of weird, then it's a different kind of scenario, isn't it? Anyways, I was going to go and look at the analytics. It got 269. That's good. That's really good. And is it showing it to people from browse and chart and all that? Let's see here. Reach doesn't have a whole lot Okay, 51% is from browse features. That's good. I want more to be from YouTube search. Okay, so 3.6.
Sunday driver says Amazon drivers always lose my packages.
Do they? Have you ever had your Amazon package delivered to the wrong house? I've had that happen once or twice. Yeah, you know, because they like take a picture of it, you know? So my wife will get the email. She's like, that's not our porch. Happened 2 or 3 times, actually. It's not like we have a hard address. Addresses in Utah are easy. The driver's just...
Sunday driver says I've had my packages delivered to the wrong state.
What? The wrong state? That's hilarious, dude. Well, I mean, it's not hilarious. It's I feel bad. That's unfortunate, Sunday. Yeah, that Amazon. And you know what? The stuff that they have on their Amazon Prime subscription service, like streaming service, isn't that good. It's not really all that good, to be honest. I think at the moment...
Salim L. Weathering says, I mean in terms of commissions and fees and execution to open a live account.
Oh, you're talking about to use CQG versus Rhythmic? As far as I understand, there's no difference. In fact, they both have a routing fee of like 50 cents or something like that. So there's no difference there, as far as I understand. Okay, so they're kind of getting a little chippy here in the evening.
Salim L. Weathering says thanks.
Yep. Really, the difference between CQG and Rhythmic is, do you want to see more level 2? Brah. It's a BRAH. Brah. Thanks, brah. Either you want to see more level 2 or you want to see like the tick index and stuff. I was using the tick index. It's interesting, but I didn't find it that useful. Probably if you were way, way more into technical analysis than I am, then maybe you might find it more useful. But I don't know. We backtested it with it, and it's not really that predictive. Wow. Should I call it? I shouldn't say it's not that predictive. If you get below like that 400, 600 level on the tick, there's a significantly greater chance of a reversal. But if you play it, the risk reward and everything isn't really very... There's not... That edge has already been arbitraged out, I'm afraid. Oh, cool. People are watching a lot of the video, too. It's not as high as I would like. Oh, and the click-through rate is good. I was concerned that my my thumbnail for the Combine video was not good enough. But then I zoomed his picture up, and he just looks like such a douche, to be honest. If he somehow was found innocent and based on everything that I've read about this case, I think that's highly unlikely. But if he did, then I take it all back. But effectively uninsurable. Tesla goes shopping for D&O insurance, but is forced to exclude Elon Musk from the policy. What is that? What is D&O insurance? D&O insurance. Directors.
Sunday driver says got to Zoom. Shit.
I'll see you later, Sunday. Thanks for stopping by. Directors and officers liability insurance covers directors and officers or their company or organization if sued. D&O insurance claims are paid to cover losses associated with the lawsuit, including legal defense fees. Most policies exclude fraud and criminal offenses. Yeah, I would see why he would be like effectively uninsurable, because he's so famous and he's gotten himself in hot water before that everybody's going to always be trying to sue him. Now, Tesla is still shopping for D&O insurance, but has excluded CEO Elon Musk from its policy, according to an insurance insider. Tesla is currently in the market for a binding quote on a D&O policy with a $100 million aggregate limit, according to the report. That's funny. Sources called the CEO effectively uninsurable based on his erratic behavior, which notably included a fake $80 billion buyout bid for his company that didn't exist that ultimately led to allegations of securities fraud with the SEC. That's right. That never happened. You know, I'm still just stunned that Tesla can hold the stock price that it has. Them hands are, I don't want to call them strong, but I don't know. The denial is strong over there. Let's see here. There was a comment in the manufacturing survey I missed. Looking ahead, the regional manufacturing recovery will remain constrained by the dark shadow cast by the ongoing pandemic. Weak demand, supply chain disruptions, and fears of a virus resurgence will weigh on the manufacturing sector's recovery until a health solution is discovered and broadly available. While COVID-19 case and death rates are trending in an encouraging direction in New York and many other states, the virus threat looks set to persist for some time, and the economy is still at risk of falling into a quote-unquote double-dip recession. Dun, dun, dun! Even though all of the numbers in the manufacturing survey were good. But I don't know if you can read too much into that one, because they're just kind of acknowledging the lay of the land, stuff that everybody knows, but that, you know, maybe people 100 years from now might want to know in the survey. Can you imagine people 100 years from now looking at this stuff? Maybe 100 years from now, somebody will watch this stream to see what was happening in markets. They'll be like, oh, dude, there was this guy on YouTube, and he would stream the whole morning
says,
session.
have you ever imagined what would have happened if no one announced this new virus? If, like, the only indication of it was some brainlet at the CDC noticing excess deaths?
Well, I think that if
Uzi Knesset says and there was no virus narrative in the news and politics.
I'm pretty sure that if that was the situation and no states did any lockdown measures or anything like that, people would start to notice, because a lot of people would be getting sick and the ERs would be overflowing. Like, this is the problem with the idea that the pandemic is not a big deal, is that hospitals are getting constrained. And if we had not shut down, because some of them, like if you get to 90 or 100% hospital capacity after doing a lockdown.
It says you think they would have just tacked it up as a bad flu season.
No way. They would have eventually picked it up as a unique virus in a pandemic. Here's the thing. This is not the first time that there has been a major disease spreading around the world that the news makes a big deal about, right? When it was SARS, they made a big deal out of it. When it was swine flu, they made a big deal out of it. But it wasn't like they didn't use it as a political thing, right? Like swine flu was pretty bad in the United States, but Obama was president, so they didn't make a big deal out of it. And I also think that a really big part of this was that, you know, there was stuff in the news about it, and we in markets were definitely watching it. But then Donald Trump was like, well, I don't know if this is a big deal. Maybe we should ignore it. But then eventually he decided, well, we need to do something about it. And so when he decided that he was going to do something about it, he said, okay, shock and awe, everything. right? Now it's a big deal. So to some extent, Donald Trump probably exacerbated the media response to it. And then when, after they had closed down for a while, then he flipped around and was like, we need to reopen everything. He couldn't clamp it down at that point. And so then everybody wanted, then it was the reverse psychology thing. Oh, well, if Donald Trump wants us to open up, then we shouldn't open up. Which is kind of dumb because as far as I can tell, the places that opened back up are fine. Yeah. There's all of these very Republican areas like Florida, probably a really great example. Florida opened back up. Nothing awful happened. Texas opened back up. Nothing awful happened. They opened that back up early. And meanwhile, there's some places in Democrat areas of the country that are still closed, and it's ridiculous. Right? We never fully closed, to be honest. Some areas we never fully closed. That one I don't make sense. You were not in your area. You never had a rule that you were basically only allowed to go out of the house to get groceries. They didn't do that where you live, because I've kind of been under the impression that almost everywhere fully locked down for at least that 2 weeks to a month. But this is just where I just think there's so much. We shut our business down for 2 weeks voluntarily back in March. Been working ever since. No, that's a shutdown, and that's how it was supposed to be, right? What was it, 2 weeks to flatten a curve or whatever? So what I don't get is like either the lockdown worked or it didn't, right? Like they shut it down for 2 weeks. It worked. My opinion is we shut down for 2 weeks. It worked. We gave the hospitals enough time to prepare. And nowhere in the country, even though there was some places in Texas that did reach 100% hospital capacity, they were able to just go to other hospitals and it was fine. And we averted disaster. So they did the right thing. We did the right thing. We closed. And then after that, it was like people didn't trust it. It was like, no, we need to stay shut down forever. And then we started to get into crazy town. And now it's been like crazy town for like 6 months. And you have to wonder, like, if people are getting sick of it. Like in these places where there's still significant restrictions and businesses are shut down, it really seems like people are getting PO'd, Like that whole thing with Nancy, right? I think the main reason why that thing with Nancy was so potent against her was because the businesses had been shut down and they really didn't need to be.
Uzi Knesset says we did it because a client's wife was exposed. Uzi Knesset says killed my wife to do it, but I told her it'd benefit her reputationally and it did.
Well, I don't know. And then here's the other thing that really irks me. Okay. The masks. Oh my gosh, man. The masks just drives me crazy. Like, wait.
Uzi Knesset says bro, at this point heavy Democrat areas are closed down still because so much GDP is weighted to them. They open up, the recovery speeds up and Trump looks better. That's
maybe.
Why.
I don't know if they are explicitly thinking of it in that way though. But I digress. Masks, every study that I've looked at, the way that coronavirus is primarily spread is through water droplets. Masks stop the water droplets from being spread. They also slightly help with you preventing you from breathing in the water droplets. And if you both wear masks and you're 6 feet apart, the chances of you spreading the virus are practically nil. Okay? And they've done like numerous experiments on this since the pandemic has gone through. There's an overwhelming wealth of evidence that shows that this works. Okay? So you have all of these idiots. No offense to anybody that believes this, but you have this huge group of people that think, masks don't actually work. There's no medical evidence to support that they work. Okay. But then you have this whole other group of people that think that the masks work, but then still want to keep things shut down. Do they not see the contradiction in that? If masks work, There is literally no reason for any business in the entire nation to be closed. Seriously. Masks work, and there's no reason for anybody to still be closed. But there still are.
Uzi Knesset says all of New York is experiencing less COVID deaths than some counties in FL. They're holding out until the election. Biden wins, big Dem cities open right back up.
Yeah. But interestingly enough, the political impact, because it was hurting Donald Trump's numbers for a while, appears to have subsided. As I predicted that it would, right? Because there was still kind of that second wave in the summer, and that was like, yeah, and then that wave, you can do the math. We know which way it's going to go, and by the time school starts in end of August, September, it's going to be a completely different situation. And guess what? It has been. And guess what? The kids have been going to school now for what, 2 weeks? I guess we need to wait a little bit longer, give it another 2 weeks. And actually, because of the rate of transmission increases, it actually might even take 4 weeks, really. But people are going to start changing their opinions about it after 2 weeks, right? They're going to say, oh, hey, we started back up at school and nothing bad happened. And I can even see even some of my not very, but even some of my left-leaning friends and family, because their kids are going back to school, they're starting to be like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm told that in the schools, it's basically become an unspoken rule that you just don't get tested because it's such an inconvenience to everybody. If you get tested, and it's positive, then everybody that you were anywhere close to has to isolate themselves for 2 weeks. And it's disruptive to the whole school. And so it's turned into just don't get tested so that never happens in your school. Isn't that crazy? And these are liberals telling me this.
Uzi Knesset says I'm still amazed by my county's FB page. They post the numbers every day and it's funny. The last COVID death we recorded died 2 months ago, lol.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the problem is it's kind of over, but people don't want it to be over. There's still the winter thing. Here's the problem: is that there is a rise in cases in Europe, and there could be problems in the winter. But I don't know. This is why this AstraZeneca news. Yesterday, the news came out that their trial was still on hold. The market sold off initially on it, but they tried to hold it, and they really didn't move down nearly as much as I thought that they would have. This is a big piece of news because we were possibly going to get a vaccine in November before the election, right? That's definitely not happening now. That's a big deal. They came to that conclusion in April. Never get tested. No reason to. Yeah. Okay, so we got industrial production numbers coming in here. About 30 seconds. Second wave, you will deaths left and right. This stuff is not natural. Biological war. Well, there was a second wave. I mean, and here's the other thing that really makes the whole thing, like, it really puts into perspective how political it has become. The primary determinant of how many lives you save is how effectively you protect the vulnerable population and not stopping the overall spread. Okay. Numbers should be coming in here. Industrial protection is a spot 4 versus an expected 1%. And the utilization is in line. Production 1 versus an expected 1.2. So this number is not typically a huge market moving number, but it does appear to be slightly worse than expected. So
Uzi Knesset says the only way violence goes away is if Biden wins. The only way COVID goes away is if Biden wins. Blah blah.
So I continue to see this thing that is like, if Donald Trump is elected, the violence will continue. Kamala Harris like straight up said it, almost as like a threat. I was kind of shocked that she said that, but I was also kind of shocked that the news didn't pick up on it, of course. But you guys think that if Biden gets elected, they're gonna stop? No way, guys. Black Lives Matter started during a black Democrat presidency. What makes you think that just because a Democrat is elected that they're going to go away? They're not going to go away. They're going to feel emboldened. They're going to push harder to defund the police. And it'll be a real battle there because people aren't going to want their police forces to be dismantled. Right? It's only going to get worse. There is only one way. Look at me. There is only one way to stop the violence. And this is shown and proven out time and time again. Every time in American history that there are riots. You know how you stop it? You enforce the law. Strictly. Okay? Because Democrat governors and mayors have been refusing to do anything about it, it's escalated. So the only way that the violence stops is if you guys stop electing Democrats to be mayor. End of story. Everywhere in my city, they started to do this stuff. There was a riot. They turned over a car, and immediately that night, the National Guard was called out. There was a curfew, and it was over. And they had another protest the next day, but the protesters were, basically wanted to de-escalate. And that was the end of it. That was the end of it. Because of the governor, not the mayor. The mayor in Salt Lake is an idiot. But because the governor stepped in and said to the mayor, look, we gotta do the right thing here and stop this now. And they did. And Salt Lake has been fine. But then you go to places like Kenosha, stuff starts happening. They don't do squat.
Uzi Knesset says that's what the Dems are saying though. Elect us and we'll enforce the law again.
Yeah, right. I haven't heard anybody say that. I mean, I've heard Biden and Harris kind of give tepid recognition to the pandemic, tepid. How did that come out of my mouth? They've given tepid recognition to BLM and the protests, and then tried to say that it's not a thing. But like they say, oh, I don't want to defund the police, even though you basically did. But yeah, and this is a big part of why Biden hasn't been doing very well in swing states.
Uzi Knesset says, oh no, not directly, I mean indirectly. They won't
Maybe.
say it outright because it'll trigger the mobs lol.
I don't think people believe that Democrats will be harder on people when they get elected. I think that some people think that Antifa will chill out if a Democrat is elected. Because they all say, it's because the reason we're having problems is because Donald Trump is a fascist. And if we get rid of the fascists, then this will all go away. Wrong. So wrong. This stuff all started long before Donald Trump.
Popular No V Bulgaria says, how about the militia killing innocent people and Trump supporting them?
Okay, so you're probably referring to the Kyle Rittenhouse incident. And if you go and you look at the video evidence available and you look at the laws in Wisconsin and everything else, it is exceedingly clear that Kyle Rittenhouse was operating under self-defense. and he's going to be let off. He might get charged for handling a deadly weapon under the age of 18, but he's not going to get hit for murder because it was self-defense. Meanwhile, this one pisses me off. Okay, in Portland, it was Portland? There's this guy, he's been like a hardcore Antifa guy. He's been traveling around the country, actually. Like, he was in Kenosha, too. And he saw some Donald Trump supporters. He was hiding around a corner and ambushed those guys and killed one of them. And then he had the audacity to come out and claim that he was protecting somebody. No, it was like a preemptive strike. So he killed somebody. And then he gets interviewed by Vox, which is just like, how did they find him? And they get this interview. Absolutely disgusting and irresponsible behavior from that media outlet, in my opinion. And then the police caught up with him. He shot at the police with basically an Uzi, and then he died. So here you've got Antifa people literally murdering people in the streets and having armed conflicts with the police. Ain't nobody give a shit about that. Oh, the militias are killing innocent people. That is not what happened. And then they ignore this thing that happened in Portland. It's insane. You ever heard anything about that? After he died? I mean, I saw the news stories about it when he died. It wasn't like big headline news. And that was it. Everybody forgot about that whole thing. They memory hold the whole thing. Even Kyle, they stopped talking about Kyle. You know why you haven't heard anything about Kyle? Because he's going to get off. They don't want to focus it on it anymore, because the more that people know, the more they realize that he was practicing self-defense.
Uzi Knesset says self-defense is when you turn yourself in. Ambush murder is when you die shooting at police.
Yeah. Anyways, we got super political today. That's okay. But we are opening here in 7 minutes, and we should probably focus at that point.
Salim L. Wuthering says, I was obsessed with Trump before he was elected, now I don't care about him. Twinkers didn't care about him before he was president, now they obsessed by him.
Now, what's going on here in the equities channel? I have a friend who has not traded futures before, short of fudging his experience with futures in order to get trading permission with a broker. Where should he start, and will he be able to trade on margin without experience? Thanks. In other words, I forget because my broker statements can get me permission wherever I want. It's been a while. Higer says, brokers are whores. If he says he has more than 3 years of experience on his questionnaire, nobody will ask anything. No need to bash proper whores by grouping them with brokers. Come on now. Oh. Okay, I'm like, why are they talking about whores?
Popular Novi Bulgaria says gun laws are not in line with the age we live in.
Isn't that interesting that when we say that what he did was legal, and then they say, well, then the laws should be changed. But here's the thing that's really interesting about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. And go back and watch the videos, like watch the more analysis of it, okay? Kyle was like a police junior deputy kind of kid. Like he liked the cops. He was all about like public service and helping the community out and everything. Apparently he was maybe a little bit delinquent too. And he did get into a little fight with his when his little sister was being attacked by a kid, but anyways, he knew the laws about self-defense. And when you go in there, what he did was textbook. You, if you're doing self-defense, you have the duty to retreat first. Even though in that state, I don't think that you doesn't necessarily did. But then there's the whole thing about, well, but if you're doing something illegal to begin with, then you have to retreat, and then you can practice self-defense. And he did all that. He was running away from the guy. The guy literally grabbed his rifle, and then Kyle shot him. And same with the other thing. He was running away from those people. He tripped and they started attacking him, trying to kick him while he was on the ground. And so then he practiced self-defense. There is literally nowhere in the country, and there's literally no way that you can change the gun laws that would not make that self-defense, right? Like, he knew what the situation was, and he did everything correctly so that there was absolutely no question that it was a self-defense case. That he got charged with murder by the DA there is just an absolute travesty and a total political move, right? The DA there knows that because the Democrats were all mad about it, that they had to charge him. But when you read the papers, it's like it was like written like it was written by the defense. Like, they must not think that they're going to win. They really must not. This is one of those, I should have been a lawyer. Sometimes I think, hey, Seth, you would have enjoyed being a lawyer. I think I would have enjoyed being a lawyer, but it's too much work. It's too much work. Too much boring work. But I love looking at the laws and the situations and trying to figure out how the laws apply and doing all of the research and everything. And when I started going down the hole and reading all the legal subreddits, it's just insane that this guy got charged. Yeah.
Uzi Knesset says same thing in Minneapolis. They overcharged the cops in George Floyd case.
Yeah.
They won't be able to get a murder conviction.
It seems pretty clear to me from the evidence that has been released now that regardless of what the cops did, George Floyd was not going to make it through that day. He had so much of that shit in his system. Like, they were saying that people died off of half of that. Like, he was crazy high. Yeah. He was going to suffocate and die either way. And I don't know about how, the cops keeping their knee on his neck and everything is certainly a problem. But you're not going to be able to get a murder conviction off of that. And once they release like the full on footage and everything, it's really clear. There's no way that they're going to get, like, everybody was mad that they didn't charge him with murder 1, but like, I don't even know if they can get murder 3. I think that they could probably get something like I bet you that they could get reckless endangerment, but not murder. No.
Uzi Knesset says that's why they took that one off center stage too. They're going to walk, and the more people that know, the better the chances of more riots.
Yep. They're going to walk, and there'll probably be riots afterwards. This is the same thing with, and this gets even worse, the whole thing in Wisconsin, right? That guy, that one is insane because everybody's been saying, that guy was treated unfairly and the cops shouldn't have shot him. And they're really trying to rally behind him. He was there to harass his rape victim. What? Once the whole story comes out, I was shocked. And some of these Democrats still don't know and are like, who was it? Kamala Harris or something, like, went and visited him and said that she was proud of him. Oh, you're proud of a rapist going and harassing his victim when there's a restraining order against him? What? It's just like every time the Democrats think they have, see, this is what happens when you're living in hysteria, is that they have programmed a reaction into you because you've had an emotional experience off of a certain news story. Okay. So the news, one of the big ones that you're seeing, probably the best example of this, I mean, those are really great examples too, but the best example of this is the Heather Hoyer incident, right? So going into that incident, there was people blocking streets and people were saying, well, what are you going to do if you get caught in that and people are attacking your car and they're flipping cars? You have no choice but to just plow through it. And so that kid, he acted out on that emotion, that setup. Okay. And then that created a setup in the Democrats. So now the Democrats are all terrified that Nazis are going to run them over because of the Heather Hoyer incident, right? And so what do you get? You've had all these incidents where innocent cars are just trying to drive through the crowd, and people are pulling guns on them and shooting them. There was one incident in Salt Lake. There was an incident in Denver. There was another incident somewhere. I don't remember where it was. And then there was the incident in Houston where a car got stopped and somebody pulled a gun on it, and so the guy in the car was like a former, he was in the Army Reserve of some sort. So he shot that guy and he died. Right? And all of this manufactured from basically the news, where they basically program a response in you. And so now it's happening with these things that they've programmed this response into people that cops are violating people's civil rights and being brutal and everything. So now they seem to think that any time that a suspect gets shot, that's what's happening, when it's exceptionally rare that the cops act inappropriately in a situation like that.
Uzi Knesset says that's why they took that one off center stage too. They're going to walk, and the more people that know, the better the chances of more riots. Uzi Knesset says same thing with dude in Georgia who took a cop's taser ad got shot. Why Trader says Libetard. Salim L. Wuthering says lovely sweep on NQ, lots of money is going to be lost today.
Think so? Well, they've sweat. Wow, that was pretty far down there.
Uzi Knesset says easy to create the illusion of an event being common when you ignore 99.99% of police encounters in a given year.
Yeah, exactly. It really is crazy. I'm seeing a lot of TikToks of cops saying that like they have somebody pulled over. Like there was a case where a guy called the cops over because he was the victim of a crime.
Why Trader says what car are you driving?
I have an Acura right now. Anyways, he had been called over because a guy was reporting a crime, and he was black. So this black guy was reporting being the victim of a crime, and so the police were there taking notes, and people pulled over and started attacking the police because they were taking down that this black guy had been a victim of a crime. And I'm seeing that like every day now on TikTok. Like similar incidents from cops, because there's a lot of cops on TikTok apparently. There's a lot of I tell you what, a lot of conservatives are like anti-TikTok because they heard about this thing where the Tulsa rally, but there is a very strong conservative presence on TikTok. A very strong conservative presence. And you get stuff from all sorts of walks. It's just like the people just come out. Like you want to see what black conservatives are thinking. Oh, there are so many
Uzi
of them.
Knesset says white leftists co-opting black political issues is the worst thing to happen for black political issues.
Oh, totally. Totally agree with you. No, there's like I can point out like a dozen or so strong black Trump supporters on TikTok. Right? And they post content every day. Well, most people have no clue. Well, it is. They are running up. They are trying to make an attempt at those highs. It looks pretty tight still. I think that there's still a little bit long in the tooth.
Salim L. Wuthering says at E-Trader by Acura as means a BMW. Your BMW is his Acura, and his BMW is a Ferrari.
No, I got an Acura. But I paid it off. I'm thinking about at some point when that Acura dies, I'll probably switch over to a Corolla. It'll have to be a Corolla with a
Why
sweet
Trader
sound
says
system.
you goddamn Nazi.
Because I have an Acura. By the way, Secretary of State Pompeo is still talking.
Why Trader says I Avenue a Ford F-150.
Oh, you have a Ford? I wouldn't mind a truck. I wouldn't mind a Cybertruck, but I'm a little concerned about getting a Tesla vehicle right now. There's some problems with them. Okay. So we've seen a little bit on both sides of this now. They've attempted a downturn. They came down below. They didn't come very far. It does look like it's mostly a buy. I'm not so sure. I especially think that because of the Apple event later today, I'm not so sure that I have an edge here anymore. So I'm gonna hold off here. If we start to get some sort of an extended sell, then I might join on, but I would need to see a reason for it.
Eric McDermott says get Toyota Tacoma 4-drive 4x4 off-road. With chip. Drives like a Porsche. I have in 6-speed. With lift, etc. Screaming machine. Panty dropper too.
You know what? That sounds very appealing to me. I've always wanted a Tacoma with like the roll bar and everything, like set up like that one from Back to the Future. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Salim L. Weathering says at eTrader you got him. He is too sensible by trying to save money on lavish unnecessary things.
Well, I feel like I've spent some unnecessary money. Like I got a smoker. I got a trigger smoker. Maybe I should have gotten a real smoker, but that's too much work. So I got a trigger smoker. Been pretty happy with it actually. It was a good deal. It was like $500. It was a good one. I didn't need to do that, and I'm still kind of thinking about that. Like, wow, should I have really done that? And then my monitor
Eric
died.
McDermott says go to Seattle. Get under invoice 100K warranty. Lifetime oil changes, etc. Best resale hold value like a Rolex or better.
Okay. Anyways, the monitor died, so I had to get a new monitor, and there was a deal two for a good deal, and so I said, "Oh, we'll buy one and we'll give it to my stepson." So I did that. It was $500, and I'm like, "Oh, I really didn't want to have to spend money on another monitor." But like, what was I gonna do? And I had to get it like then because I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna do a video without my monitor behind me. I have to go and get a monitor for that." Well, I tell you what, they look pretty bullish still. They look like too long to me, but I'm kind of sitting here looking at it and thinking, yeah, but they could just do this. We're just going to buy no matter what thing again.
Salim L. Weathering says 500 what? 4K?
No, it was the 3K or WHQLD or whatever you call it. The 2560 by 1440 resolution, and it's a high refresh one, so that's nice. High refresh rate, and yeah, it's a Dell. So I have to tell you, when you're looking at monitors, okay, for trading,
Salim L. Weathering says ooh shit.
all of these aesthetic things about a monitor matter a lot. So if you can find monitors with bevel-less monitors, that's what you want, man. It makes a big difference for what we're doing. Just to not see that black line between them. Well, in my case, the black line being less, it just looks so much cleaner. I'm so much happier about it for whatever reason. And you get better mounts on them. Having a better power cord helps because the one thing I don't like is this one. It's just like those AC cables, and they're so thick.
Blank says check out the Razer Raptor. It's so beautiful.
The Razer Raptor? Oh, I think I've seen that.
Why Trader says S reaching high.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with the monitor, they're all going to
Salim L.
look
Weathering
pretty
says
much
I
the same.
don't why I see a high refresh rate as sexual.
I don't see why. High refresh rate is nice. Now you want bevel-less monitor. You want like these Dells that have no bezels. This one literally doesn't have a bevel. there's a black square around it, but there's literally no bevel.
Vlad Stolyarov says watch energy sector today.
Okay, so I'm just noticing the 6J has been seeing some strength here. It's maybe lifting the treasuries up a little bit. Treasuries still haven't moved a whole lot this session. Oil is having another run up. That might be helping the equities out a lot here.
Eric McDermott says how about 28-inch Acer 4K has speakers, awesome stand. Dot for vertical or horizontal, perfect. I have two, good price, scratch dent on AMZN dollar.
There you go. That sounds like a good one. Although I really like using these monitor arm stands. I think that's way better.
Blank says 28-inch is way too small for 4K.
You think so? No, mine are 27-inch monitors. I really don't think I could go much bigger. If I went much bigger with my monitors, it would start to be a problem. But you know what the king is now, though, right? Have you seen this Samsung Odyssey G9 thing? Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys got to see this. It is insane. It is insane.
Blank says how about ultrawides?
So it's basically, no, that's not what we want. We want the G9. The G9. Look at that. It's basically the equivalent of 3 monitors. And it's curved just the right so that you have the correct viewing angle across the whole thing. And it's a G-Sync monitor. And it is 240 hertz. QHD. And it's pretty in the back too. I mean, it is really cool. But 240 hertz. 1 millisecond response time. G-Sync. Dude, this thing is
Eric
the goat.
McDermott says no. .wks perfect for me. The pixels are awesome. I run about 30 graphs on my ThinkPad, and them CB280HKORB286HK not sure about HTZ. Salim L. Weathering says is it usable as a TV? Blank says are you getting an RTX 3000 series card?
I'm thinking about it. I don't think that I will do it this year because I had to spend the money on the monitor, and that's about half of the cost of one of those cards.
Gary Rich says just go big and large 40 to 50 in 4K TVs.
Yeah, you get those
Vlad Stolyarov says C Citigroup wasted.
But really, the G9, the Odyssey G9, that's the sexy. You want to spend $1,200 on a monitor? That's what I would go get for sure, and it'd be great for trading. Citigroup is wasted. Yeah, so Citigroup has been laying people off. That's why they're getting hit. Okay, so equities had a pretty good run there.
Salim L. Weathering says, can I use it as TV?
What, the G9?
Blank says actually RTX 3070 offers better performance than $1,200 RTX 2080 Ti for $499.
Yeah. So you know why that happened? This is something that's good to know.
Salim L. Weathering says yeah.
For investing purposes. So I don't think that everybody realizes the way that the semiconductor industry works. The way that it works is they have like a silicone wafer. They call it a substrate. A little circular thing like this, right? And then they take that, and that's basically what they take through the plant. So they'll start with these wafers, and they'll go to different stations in the plant, and it'll go through that process, and then they'll take them out of that process and walk them over to the next spot. This is the way the semi. You would think. I always had this picture in my mind of a semiconductor plant of like this line, like in Star Wars. Like the second Star Wars, and they're that assembly line. No, there's just rooms all over the plant that are specialized in a certain type of process, and they take the wafers over to that particular process, right? So when you do it, you get a wafer, and of course the NVIDIA chips are pretty big, right? So you get a wafer, and not every, and then those are the chips, and then they'll cut it up, right? So not every chip on that wafer works, essentially, right? And so what has happened is that the last generation of cards didn't have a very good yield, essentially, and that's why they were so expensive. And so what they did was they were working on a smaller process where the transistors were smaller, and in order to do that, they had to get quite a bit more customized of a process, which meant that the equipment and so forth that creates it was much more specialized towards this one particular card, essentially, right? And so because of that, the yield that comes off of those wafers is significantly higher. And that's how they're able to offer a new card that is much more powerful than the last generation card and cheaper, only $500. And that's when you're investing and you're looking at products. That's how you have to look at it. Is the yield is going to be a significant factors.
Vlad Stolyarov says GPU has stuff locked down if they defective.
Yeah.
Blank says they switched to Samsung instead of TSMC this year.
AMD.
Vlad Stolyarov says AMD is all over the place today. That sell-off looked stupid.
Well, if NVIDIA were to get the ARM holdings, there's a lot of question about if that deal will actually go through. But if they actually got it, that would be a really big deal. Because NVIDIA is already starting to be a significant player in the computing space, and if they had all of the intellectual property for those ARM processors, then they could just take over, and there would be big competition for AMD. Sure. Anyways. Yeah, so the one thing about the RTXs and everything, about the 3000 series card, is I would really like to see a card with 6 outputs. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. I probably could get a 3070, but I don't really have a use case for it right now. Rumors say deal went through. No, they're talking about like the European Union has to look at it for antitrust concerns, and this is going to take months. It's going to take months, or over a year for them to get all the approval. And some people are questioning whether they can actually get it. Is the whole thing. And the crazy thing is that apparently SoftBank had call options in it before it was released, which is kind of shady. Okay, so that move came back. I am seeing something might be happening here because the euro is taking a hit.
Block sell.
Oh, my wife is bringing a baby over here. Okay. Oh, where can you get his keyboard? Put him right here. Like, let's try and have it to be as that way as possible. Since I already took a trade, we can kind of chill and just have fun. So I had a good trade, and I'm a little, with the Apple event later today and everything. And just the way that they're pretty overbought here in general. Unless I saw some bad news and the market really started to fall apart, I don't think that I really want to take another trade. Wow.
Vlad Stolyarov says C has a 45 daily gap.
We'll move the camera so you can see.
Vlad Stolyarov says they gapped market too far. Vlad Stolyarov says WFC selling too. Vlad Stolyarov says JPM selling. Salim L. Wuthering says God bless them. Salim L. Wuthering says hi new trader. Salim L. Wuthering says hi baby trader.
It's hard to get this positioned in a way that can really see him well.
Salim L. Wuthering says take Dady's money. Blank says what charting platform are you using? Vlad Stolyarov says AMD now up 0.6% total V-shape bounce.
We'll move that one.
Salim L. Wuthering says which trades is he taking?
Which trades is he taking? I don't know, but you see he's got his keyboard?
Salim L. Wuthering says AHAHHAHAHH.
Yeah, that one's noisy. We'll leave that over there.
Vlad Stolyarov says I think he wants to invest in toy products.
Do you think so? Do you want to invest in toy products? I don't know if there's any really good toy stocks right now. We're going to just turn that toy off. Now don't drop that, Asher. Yeah, that's exactly how you use it.
Salim L. Wuthering says love you. I hope I will get one of these one day.
One of these. He's being good. He's he's starting to get to the point, yes. What, you went to grab me? Are you trying to get something? You want this back? Turn it on. He's getting to the point now where he has preferences and things, you know? Like there are certain things he's definitely more interested in than others.
Jack Henderson says, how is it going, people? Vlad Stolyarov says, I don't like taking trades with market gapping so much.
Me neither.
Vlad Stolyarov says, unless they break lows and become short.
Let's see if I can get this position a little better.
Salim L. Wuthering says he wants to size you up from your biceps.
I have very good biceps. So now if I sit here, can you still see me? Not really. So we're just gonna have it pointed just at him, and it's gonna look like he is in charge.
Jack Henderson says the captain of the stream got a few years younger. Salim L. Wuthering says, yeah, we don't need to see you, Seth. We only need baby Seth. Eric McDermott says, cool, a mini me, or a mini you, congrats, a little brainiac. Salim L. Wuthering says you'll let him trade. Salim L. Wuthering says, ah ha 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 ha.
Can you see yourself on the monitor there? Do you see yourself right there? You want me to make it big? Look, now you're the whole monitor. You're actually more tired than you think you are, aren't you?
Salim L. Wuthering says Seth connect him, he many have a statistical
He
advantage.
might. We'll see. How are we gonna do this? Okay, Asher. If you want me to go long, just say bye bye bye, and we'll do it. All right. There we go. You just say bye, bye, bye. He says mom, but I don't think he really has bees. Say bye. Can you even see me? Oh, that's funny. Here, we need to turn the light up a little bit.
Salim L. Wuthering says, "Oh my god, he is lovely."
He looked at me for a little bit and he's like, boom. What is this? Is that a horse? You know what horses do?
Salim L. Wuthering says, "If he taps on the right, that's buy. If he taps on the left, that's sell." You know, actually, that's how I trade myself. HAHH.
Oh, is that how you do it, Salim? That's how you're so fast. Well, I was watching that video the other day. I was like, yeah, he's trading fast. But I thought that you were using a DOM or something else like that. Doing it on the chart is like, ooh, it's so scary to me. Well, I guess you weren't really using the chart. You were using that like buy and sell stuff. But I have to, I want to see what price I'm taking in. I was like, wow. That looks like they're having another move up. You got it? You eating that? There we go. So he starts breathing, he just doesn't cough. It's like, so why don't you just clear your throat, dude? Yeah.
Salim L. Wuthering says, "I was reading from the DOM, but I didn't show. But I executed on NinjaTrader chart. But could have executed anywhere as a fixed table with dedicated buttons to buy, sell, and exit."
Yeah, but you're using market orders to enter, basically. It's a slow morning grind, that's for sure. get that horse. So they came short of that high and are trading down now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh is
Celine L.
right.
says, yeah, could have never been executed on limit orders even if I wanted to.
Yeah, that might be true. Although, I would have thought in NASDAQ that might matter. But I guess it moves so fast that. Oh, what was the headline here? World Trade Organization rules that U.S. tariffs on China violate trade rules. Oh, that's a big deal. Well, is that a big deal? How do they violate? What about them violates the rules?
Gary Rich says the next 45 days it's mainly fiscal policy with stimulus packages. The VIX October to Mar is one giant ski slope. Sept to October too much hopium of contango.
So, so something I saw the other day that I think that you'd be interested in, Gary, was that the market seems to be pricing in expectation that the election might not be resolved right away. And
Salim L. Wuthering says he is looking at daddy talking. My God bless him and protect him.
The spike in the VIX is mostly in October and not really going through November. But that whole thing has to basically be settled by December. So the month of November could actually be really volatile if that scenario actually plays out. And the VIX isn't really pricing it in yet. It's like, buy. Why isn't it going back up? You went to duck? You went to frog? Issues report. Read here. Let's read it. Now we can read it. Conformity with the chapeau of measures that they have found not to be provisionally justified under various subparagraphs of Article 20. In light of its conclusion that the United States has not adequately explained how the measures chosen are it by necessary to protect public morals, the United States has not met its burden of demonstrating that the measures are provisionally justified under Article 20. The panel therefore does not consider it necessary to make findings on whether the United States has demonstrated that its measures satisfy the requirements of the chapeau of Article 20. Okay, I have no clue what that just meant, but that just seems like legalese. For the reasons set forth in this report, the panel concludes that the parties have not reached a mutually satisfactory solution within the meaning of Article 12.7 of the DSU, or otherwise relinquished their rights to pursue the World Trade Organization dispute settlement action on the measures at issue in this dispute. All measures challenged by China fall within the panel's terms of reference, and it is appropriate for the panel to make findings and recommendations with respect to the first measure as identified in China's panel request, additional duties of 25% on List 1 products, and the second measure as amended on the 9th of May 2019, additional duties of 25% on List 2 products. The challenge measures are prima facie inconsistent with Articles 1, blah, 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 blah. The United States has not met its burden of demonstrating that the measures are provisionally justified. Panel is very much aware of the wider context in which the World Trade Organization currently operates, which is reflecting a range of unprecedented global trade tensions. At the same time, it is not the role of this panel to draw any legal conclusions or make any recommendations on any matters other than those it has been specifically tasked to deal with through these settlement proceedings. In this connection, the panel recalls that the government of the United States has not up to this present time initiated action under the WTO dispute settlement understanding with respect to any measures China has imposed in response to the United States measures at issue in this dispute. So basically, this news doesn't matter. The panel emphasizes that pursuant to the requirements of Article 11 of the DSU, it has sought to perform diligently its adjunctory role in relation to the matters that fall within the terms of reference to these dispute settlement proceedings. Additionally, the panel notes that the panel process is structured in such a way that time is available for the parties to take stock as proceedings evolve to further consider opportunities for mutually agreed satisfactory solutions. Recalling Article 3.7 of the DSU that highlights that the aim of the dispute settlement system is to achieve a positive solution to a dispute, the panel expresses its ongoing encouragement to the parties to pursue efforts to achieve a mutually satisfactory solution. Blah, 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 blah. And that is the statement.
Gary Rich says the election results scenario is very hard to fully price in. The no decision is a wild card event, or it could occur or not. We shall see. Salim L. Wuthering says he wants you to buy him a new monitor. Why Trader says is there an inside print in Ninja Trader Dom? Gary Rich says letting China in the WTO might have been the worst mistake the world allowed. China doesn't follow the rules all the time.
Well, this is kind of an interesting thing because I think what's happening is the WTO is saying the United States isn't following the rules, but there's nothing we can do about it. Isn't that what they're saying? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Would you like me to get one of those things that you dropped on the floor? Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Ew, don't get slobber all over me. Gross. You got a really slobbery hand there, but Mom didn't give me a spit up claw. I'm gonna find one. I'll leave you guys on read here. U.S. median household income was $68,700 last year, up 6.8% from 2018. Really? Median household income is almost $70,000 now?
Gary Rich says all members of the WTO follow the rules. China has cheated its way to second world power. Stealing IP is how they grew. This goes way back decades.
Oh, yeah. But the WTO doesn't necessarily say anything about IP, right? I think they're saying you can't impose a tariff off of IP issues. It's interesting. I'm interested to see what kind of more detailed analysis we get about this decision later.
Salim L. Weathering says I don't feel like trading today. Still a bit tired from my throat inflammation. But at least today I can type but not speak. Yesterday I could do neither. COVID is legit. Octavius C. says heavy offers in ZN.
Oh yeah, look at that at 18. 18 and 17.5. That's pretty big. What are they saying here about it in Discord? Some big orders at... Well, given that we've got an FOMC meeting, that could be significant, but it's hard for me to read what's going to happen.
Gary Rich says WTO is good, but enforcing the rules is extremely hard, and how do you penalize the rule breakers? It's never fixed,
totally.
It is what it is.
Totally. I get that much. It's like China breaks the rules and then the WTO doesn't do anything. And then if we protect ourselves with the tariff, and they say, well, you're not allowed to do tariffs. But then it's like, what are you supposed to do then? It's interesting. And then, of course, we'll impose the tariffs and they're not going to do anything about it. That's my read on that. Like if I don't know why we were moving up in the first place, but if that whole sell was based off of that report, then I think that you buy it back. It's probably a little bit too late, but man, you have thrown almost every toy off. Which one do you want? Which ones do you want? You want this one? This is good. Never fixes. Well, and no country would agree to a system where they could actually be penalized. I guess it's good that they have a system that they can go through disputes with, but okay. So they had a little bit of a buying run there. It's fizzling out. I don't know. You tell them. No, that's not a toy. That's okay. Fine. You want to play with this bit rag? Good grief, child. So you know what his favorite thing is, though, is cables. He likes cables.
Gary Rich says it's all the manifestations of globalization and a globalized world. We are all interlinked. It's how the world works. Can't stop it, nor would I want to.
Maybe. You want the keyboard?
Bobcat Stress says hello cute baby there, from Malaysia.
Hi, thank you. Bob Cat Stress? Bob Cat Stress? Thanks for stopping in. It always makes me happy to see new names. So that one is that's the shift button. Are you looking at yourself over there? You're looking at yourself over there. He must know. He knows he's being filmed. He doesn't know that 33 people are watching him right now. But he knows that he's being filmed. Like, well, I better look good for the camera. Play half-heartedly with his keyboard. Wait, you want this? So he just throws it off. Yeah, that's right. It is. Do you see they dropped right there? Do you see him going? That's pretty ugly. Now they're at the lows. They gonna break it? Oh yeah, that's some stops right there. That's some stops. It's exciting. Right here. See right there. He's like, oh no, sell everything. Sell it all. Sell it all. Oh no. It's a fine when the market goes down. It is. Oh, you're gonna try and buy the dip? I don't know if we're there yet. Maybe 92. Maybe 92. seem to be holding that just below the open okay. I mean, obviously it's a break of the lows, but it's not a disaster like I would think it would be. Let's see here. I don't know. This is gonna hold. I don't want to take a serious trade because we're watching the baby, but let's just take a simulated short there, all right? Oh no. Remember to just let them ride. Just let your profits ride. Just let your profits ride. If you're down, add more. Add more. But if you're up, just let it ride. Let it ride. You give me high. Oh no, you want my thumb? You're gonna try. You're eyeing that like you're gonna eat that thumb. I don't want you to eat my hand. I don't like it when you eat my hand. He bites hard. He has teeth. Well, this isn't going so well so far. Oh no! Well, that's a good question, Asher. It looks like they are selling the euro really hard here, and that has had some knock-on effects into the equities. Hmm. Okay, so I'm seeing a strong bid there at 3,400. I'm getting some clicky here. What's this? Mm. Hmm. Well, that one's not going so well. But, you know, it's kind of one that you might have to try a couple of times. You see yourself in there?
Octavius C says you gotta give Joe Rogan some credit.
Credit for what? Did Joe Biden accept the invitation to debate? That would be epic if that would be an epic event if that happened. What's with that? Are you tired? There's no allowing, they're not allowed to be tired down here. We have to be awake and alert. Oh, they're gonna stop me out. They want me. They want me bad. You looking at my hands? Some volunteers dropped out of J&J.N vaccine trial in Spain after AstraZeneca AZN.L trial was put on hold, says the lead investigator. Cool. You come in. Mm-hmm. It's just him right now. I moved the camera so they can see him. I had already taken my trades. But we can
MISS says as was your day?
It's looking a little uncomfortable. Just nothing right here. No, he's good. That's fine.
MISS says, did you open a contract today?
I did very early on after the news. I thought the news was good, so I bought and I took 16 ticks on it, and it actually did go a little bit further, but kind of fizzled out. And since then, I've kind of haven't been a super big fan of the market, so I haven't done anything since then. And since I got the baby, then I did just take one there that was a sim trade because got the baby here. And didn't take that one too seriously. It looks like they got me out of that one pretty quickly, didn't they?
MISS says, slightly smiling face. White Trader says, why does it take forever to get filled on ZN?
Well, ZN is being really thick right now, isn't it? Do you see that? I don't think they ever ticked into it, but there was like an 8K up at 18. But look at the range for the day is only 8 ticks. It's just really slow over there. It looks like maybe people are making some plays for the FOMC, but there doesn't appear to be like a clear winner there yet. So tomorrow's going to be interesting. You spit up?
White Trader says it was hitting the price for more than 30 MMIN, now the market went 2 ticks. White Trader says, my life suck.
He's been making a little bit of noise. He was hitting the price for more
Salim
than
L.
30
Wuthering
minutes.
says at
and then the
eTrader, what were
market
you
went 2
expecting it to
ticks.
do?
Oh, man,
Explode?
that sucks. So you had the right trade, you just didn't get filled. But that's the way it is, though, is that the best trades are usually hard to get filled on. Uh-oh.
Y Trader says Wahoo OUFHAM. Y Trader says Hahua Jabik. Salim L. Wuthering says at eTrader, are you Mahmood?
There they going again. Okay. Okay. Little stop run. Itty bitty stop run. I don't know if they're ready to just like outright puke yet, but there's definitely
Salim
some
L.
buy the
Wuthering
dip
says at
going on
eTrader,
right
are you
there
Yassine?
below 98. I
MISS says sell.
see the possibility of going to 94 at least. Although below
Y
94,
Trader says
it starts to become a
WACHNOUS
little...
7 ABLLIK.
So I think I should take that if I get it. Official at South Africa's Department of Health says AstraZeneca has resumed COVID-19 trial in South Africa.
Salim L. Wuthering says at eTrader, ahahaha, hi professor.
You telling them over the headset there? It's a little walkie-talkie. Because it's not a headset, it's a walkie-talkie. Well, I tell you what, I'm seeing 94. They could go to 91. There is some people looking for it to go there, at least. 93 is... Why is 93? I'm not sure I understand that one. Actually, it is kind of a fair spot. Well, they see just fine. Oh. Nah, it's fine. I wish I tried moving the camera around to a better angle, but it was really hard to get it in a spot that, because of the way that the monitor is positioned, you have to like turn the monitor a little bit better, and then I could maybe get a better angle on it. Maybe what we should do is we should move him to the other side. That would be easier to see him then. do that. It looks like we can get filled here. Oh, it does block it. I do block it.
I knew it.
So first thing
You probably have to scoot like more towards the camera over there. For that. Well, can't reach you no more. There's Papa over here. Over there, they can't see your face. Why don't you look over there? All the cool stuff is. This is just a plant.
can I bring my microphone back up here so I can still talk? Oh yeah. That's a little better.
Why Trader says, are the schools open or closed? Why Trader says in the us.
There we go.
Salim L. Wuthering says he likes your charts.
Why don't you eat your toys again?
He sees the nuts. He knows what's in there. He remembers.
He remembers that there's nuts in there?
Ooh, I did get filled on that, right? Did I get stopped out? Oh, really? I came 2 ticks short. That's funny. All right. Seems like buyers are trying really hard to hold it here, you know? Try it again. Because that was a pretty aggro hold there. Yeah, I turned it off because it was too loud. He seems to like these soft, these things better. Anyways, he likes the horse. Hmm.
Eric McDermott says okay, so FMOC tomorrow at 1 p.m. CST. Thoughts, till then.
I guess I just need to go long, huh? The FOMC tomorrow. The FOMC tomorrow was going to be, I don't know. It's going to be a fairly significant meeting, but I don't know if it's going to really have a significant impact on markets or not. There's certainly a lot of potential there for it to happen. There's the Pop-Tart there you can eat. They have to be like a crumb. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
Dang it, broke the chrome. Yeah, there you go. Who's that? Is that good? You like it?
Eric McDermott says they will be dovish. Rates baked in. So, thinking MKT up. Go short. Maybe. They run it up. To trap bulls?
They will be dovish rates baked in, so I think in market go short. Maybe they run it up to trap bulls. Now, so Eric, I mean, I don't think that the rates would be the significant thing because nobody's expecting any kind of rate change for like years. There will be some stuff about the average interest rates because he talked about it in that conference.
Gary Rich says FOMC
we'll see.
newsflash. Rates stay the same. OMG.
Yeah.
Wow. Just like Jackson Hole. Nothing which
Nothing
moved the
which
markets.
moved the markets. The markets like really cared about it, but you're right, it didn't really move them, right? So the things that they're going to be looking at more, or that would have a significant impact, are going to be more things like, do they increase the size and duration of treasury purchases? There are some people making bets that they'll buy more 30 years. Has their opinion of yield curve control changed? Okay, well, now that I've done that 2 times, maybe I will take a more serious trade. There's definitely some buyers holding it down there. Buyers and sellers relatively equally matched right now. Oh. You can see me just barely in the corner there. Ah, that's funny. That's the monitor. I have to think a bit about the best way to do things. It's 9 o'clock. Okay. Hi. She had to go to school. Well, I guess that chance to take a more serious trade is probably not going to happen. But that's okay. I got that one early on, out the one that mattered. It feels like somebody's trying to move the market, but that it's taking a lot of contracts for them to do it. Yeah. What'd you just drop? Do you see yourself over there? Oh, you want to go short now? Okay. I think he's saying short. I don't know how I feel about that. Well, risk-wise, it's okay. Okay, we're short. Okay. He says he wants to see the open. We'll just take it in the same. If we have one more. No, we have enough for a family basketball team. We have more than enough for a family because there's 6 of us. Treasury has their schedule out. Lots of 30-year plus selling. Oh, it hasn't been automatically reading these. I'm sorry. Moving it on what news? I don't know. Looks to me like they're a little balanced to the long side, but I'm not so sure that they can sustain it. What? There's nothing there. Unless you're trying to get that cord, but I'm not letting you have that one.
Live Action says I must apologize if anyone here is experiencing annoying noise outside. My neighbor has a new wood chipper.
What? We can't hear nothing.
Eric McDermott says thinkin' FOMC move MKT. Basically, they will be dovish, baked in, then a red day. Tuck in profits, short it?
No. I think that some people are expecting some things like yield curve control and increasing size and duration of treasury purchases. And if they don't get that, or the Federal Reserve says some negative things about the economic outlook.
PRT1 says Fargo.
Oh, geez. Then maybe we get a red day tomorrow. But I kind of feel like that a lot of the bullish sentiment that we're seeing is based on the Federal Reserve being dovish. And so. The currencies are really moving today. Gold took
Eric
a
McDermott
dive.
says okay, if stimulus approved, then green.
Yeah. It's too hard. Just think of it this way, right? You want to have benchmarks, right? So the benchmark is the expectation. Okay. The expectation is that they're not going to change rates. They're going to talk about average inflation targeting, and there is some speculation about yield curve control and increasing the size and duration of treasury purchases to provide additional support, given the lack of monetary fiscal stimulus, right? So you put all that together, right? And then we just see what happens, and if it's above or below that expectation, and then we have to look at what the market positioning going into that is. Let's just assume that these buyers persist and it's long going into that. And then they come out and they don't, it's like really uneventful. Then that's a lot of people long, and then it's under expectations, so they might sell. then at that point, right? But that's all like a lot of ifs. So we can't really make too much of a prediction until we're like right there. You feeling done?
Eric McDermott says so. Don't trade till then.
Well, I mean, we still got today.
Eric McDermott says also, dollar getting stronger now.
Yeah, the dollar is getting a little stronger. It's going up again, in fact. Oh, actually, it just took a big hit.
Block buy.
Hmm. So the things, like one of the big things going on today is the Apple press conference, right? So that matters. We've been getting some news flow this morning. That FOMC meeting began at 11 a.m. as scheduled, so it just started just now. Hmm.
Eric McDermott says FOMC, tomorrow, 0.14 ET, then comments 1430.
Yep. And when the press conference happens, that can be a really dangerous time to trade, by the way. Good action? Tired? Just a little? He looks relatively tired to me. See if he makes it all the way to the end of the broadcast. Oh, a little bit of a gap there.
Eric McDermott says I think chop, till then, I not do, nothing, I know nothing, Colonel Clink.
Mm. Well, we could still play some of the positioning stuff here, but if we wanted to do that, I think we would have to be going short at some point. And so far, this trend up has been pretty solid.
Eric McDermott says dollar bouncing, consequences, gold. .mkt, S&P. Rolando says what are you doing bro? Rolando says microphone is off. But we can't see that you are babysitting.
Oh yeah, sorry, turn it off. I'm just holding the baby. We've been watching the kid. I took one early trade and got a winner on it. I've taken some other ones, but on the throwaway sim account.
Octavius C says offers
Just kind
still
of for
stepping
fun.
down in CN.
It hasn't really been going very well. It's just been up. So
Live Action says I read something last night about children's cervical develops properly due to the fact they are always looking up at you.
I have never heard that before. That is weird. Okay, that was a bit more of a downturn. Anything up here is good for a short, so I'm gonna try that for fun, and I'm gonna go take him back to mom now. Do they want to sell in the ZN there? That liquidity up at 18 hasn't disappeared, and some of them have actually moved it down. U.S. is exploring blocking all cotton goods from China's Xinjiang region.
Why Trader says, what did you say, ZN?
I was saying, I wonder if they really want to sell it because those offers aren't disappearing. Then they might be forced to sell it and get squeezed out. We should put like one of these in here.
Why Trader says I'm trapped.
Yeah. Okay, well, they did start selling into 14.5, but they didn't go through. And I'm getting a lot of.
Why Trader says I had the price reach the profit but did not get filled.
Whoa. Was it? That was Igor in Discord is saying that flurry of volume was actually more volume than the open.
Why Trader says IOGT fucked real good on ZN.
Oh, really? Hey, look, they did go. Question is, how far will they go? I actually have to look for the quick profit here on this. If that might be even. Oh, actually, we could come back quite a bit if we start coming back in this area. Huh? So there's 12.5. 12.5 is exactly where we want to go, actually. Cool. What's this one?
Why Trader says, Seth, could you please explain why the TP takes time to get filled and SL get fill instantaneously? Please explain.
When you mean the TP, you mean the take profit? Well, so you got to remember that a stop means that if any volume executes at that price, then I execute. I become a market order. Whereas a limit order means that you are at the back of the queue. And a certain amount of volume has to trade into it. So remember that with a limit order,
Why Trader says yes, take profit.
Yeah. It's harder to get filled on a limit order, and you have adverse tick excursion, which means that if you get filled, it means that there's a momentum from some market orders against you. And so the adverse tick excursion is kind of can be a problem trading on the limit. Reduces your probability, right? But you get better spots doing that. So it's like the whole trick in ZN is knowing where you can get filled and where not to. Like on this whole thing, I just knew that if they broke through 14.5, that they were going to trade 14 and probably 13.5. And I can see that there might be a target down at 12.5 because that's a pretty big volume area over the past week. But you can see they're a little bit oversold. They're going to need to come back up and accumulate more contracts. That's where in the 10-year, I think that a really useful exercise to do is to take a trade and just try and get one tick with limit orders. And you want to be in and out as quickly as possible. And once you start to do that, you get a much better feel about where you can realistically get filled and where it's questionable. Poland, central bank.
Why Trader says that is what I am doing. Why Trader says taking one tick.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's hard, and you're probably not. I would never been able to find a way to be consistently profitable with one tick. Like it's with one tick, you've got to be like one tick stop, and a win rate of like 70%. It's hard, especially if you're using a straight up stop loader, right? Like this, I'll
Why
use a
Trader
stop
says,
limit.
but the stop loss should be at one tick also cause I'm doing 2 tick in stop loss.
Yeah. So here I use a stop limit with a volume attached to it and set the volume fairly low so that I don't get out unless it's about to leave that price. Are you using that? Because otherwise you're going to have a hard time doing the one. Well, when I do one and I'm just doing it on SIM, I don't even set those. I just do it all manually. I just if it's about to go through against me, then I just click out, mark it out, or whatever.
Why Trader says I'm using ATM. Live Action says I am probably wrong, it's hard to fade this, but watching the depth and S price lifts a couple of ticks then size loads the offer in the depth. It appears we're lifting but sandbagging going on.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me, Live Action, that there's two sides to this. There's probably some, and I can speculate who they are just based on what's been going on in the market.
Why Trader says which treasury is best to trade?
Well, if you're using the level 2, it's probably the 10-year because it's the thickest. If you're doing more technicals, then ZB might be better. Anyways, we have all of these, probably a bunch of guys that are trying to get long into tech.
Why Trader says
using
I think
options.
ZN is not worth it.
Using options and so on and so forth. And then probably there's these banks unloading shares because, or hedging themselves because of it. That might be some of why we're seeing these flurries. I don't know. Must be some kind of new hedge trade. I think ZN is not worth it. Well, I mean, one tick is not worth it. E-Trader. I'm just telling you, one tick winner, one tick loser. To get a good probability on that trade is really hard because it's just always going to be. You don't want to lose 2 ticks because then you really have to have a high win rate, and it's hard to get filled on the limit orders. So doing just one is usually too hard. I'm usually looking for like 4 to 6 ticks. And you've got to really have a real solid reason for the trade, I think. That's what makes it hard in the treasuries, is that a lot of the things that might be moving them, it's really hard for us as retail traders to really know what's going on. That's kind of the disadvantage there. And that's where you get into some of the tricks. Like with this one, when I took 14
Why
half,
Trader says I only front run orders.
I took the edge, right? Let's try and just get one just for.
Why Trader says that is my only strategy.
Purposes. Only front run orders? Well, I don't know if that works, dude. To be honest with you. There you go. You get filled. Iceberg at 14. But see, how did I do that? I sold it just as it was about to leave 14 half. So I never had a tick against me. That was my edge in that case. One tick. Cool. All right, well, it's 9:30. Those were all sim trades. Never really quite got anything good in the E-mini here, unfortunately. I guess I'll just take this one off at the $5 and call it good. So I had those 3 losers. Didn't work out
Why
too well.
Trader says how the hell did you do that?
What do you mean, how the hell did I do that? So are you using Jigsaw? I'll show you here. In Jigsaw, there's something called a stop volume number right there, that SV. So I set that to a pretty low number, like a number that I know if there's that many on the bid that they're going to get hit into, right?
Why Trader says nope, Ninja Trader.
You'd have to program it for your own ATM then. If the number, the best bid, or the bid that at the price that you select is less than
Why Trader says, but it's cool, I can learn.
Yeah, less than the specified, then I put in a stop, a limit order at that price. So it's a synthetic stop essentially, right? If less than 323 orders are sitting there at that price, then it will enter in a limit order at 14, a limit sell.
Live Action says
whatever.
at eTrader, a floor trader in the bond pit told me many put a 20 lot on the 30-year for only 3 ticks a day.
Really? Anyways, so then what happens is you just have it sit there. Like I could put it here at this price, right? So that means that if that 500, they started to eat through that 500 and there was only 323 left, then we would execute and we would hit into it. And the intention is that that price will get cleared and we will immediately have caught the edge, which means that if we were to do it at 14, we would sell it at 14 and it would tick down as we do it. And so if we wanted to, we could immediately bail and get back out at 14. And so then you can do some things like, okay, if it goes offer and they don't offer a whole lot, then maybe I bid because I didn't really catch it, right? But if I do catch it and they have a pretty good stack, then I can, look to get out, essentially. What is your comparison, if any, to treasury to mortgage rate? Or does it matter, it being everyone wants to buy a house versus living in New York in virus and skyscrapers shaping fires? So the mortgage rates tracks the 10 and 30-year treasury futures pretty well, but it's a little bit lagged by a week or two as I understand it. But they absolutely set the mortgage prices based off of what the treasuries are doing, yeah. I don't know what it's going to do, if the E-mini is ever going to sell or what. Treasuries do still look heavy, so. You could try doing this other thing, which is like here, 14.5. I'm going to set a limit order here, right? I want them to hit me, but I don't want them to go through me, right? If they go through me and 14.5 goes bid, then I've done the opposite of catching the edge, right? You don't want that. You want to get filled and then more stack on you. So that's why it might be better to wait. For instance, use an iceberg, right? Here I have an iceberg, okay. Iceberg makes it a little bit harder to go through, so that might make it a better spot to try to get in at. That's the game. And the whole game is, where can I take my trade and get filled, but minimize the number of adverse ticks that I get. So if I'm going to take it in a limit order, I better be something there that makes me think they're not going to go through me. And if I'm not, then I'm going to take the market order. I want to kind of time it as close to it clearing as possible with the hopes that you catch the edge and it never goes against you. And there's advantages and disadvantages to both the limit and the market order, right? Ooh, it's hot in this room. I don't know why it's been doing this lately, but buy a house for no interest rates. Well, it's always a little higher than it is to do. So like right now, the 10-year, well, I don't know what the 30-year is at. The 10-year is like half a percentage point. Right now, the 30-year loan is something like 3.8. Yeah. Anyways, I better get going. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Good day. I'm happy with it overall. And yeah, in the meantime, stay profitable.